Alright fellas, the question I see all the time remains unanswered. What is the best army possible in Bannerlord? Is it a horde of cons guards, swarming with hit-and-run tactics, or a mix of Fian Champs and Imperial Elite Cataphract, sweeping everything in front of them aside? Is it masses of elite palace guards and Valandian sharpshooters, or some kind of mix of the best troops in the game? In this series, we'll look to explore and answer that question, as I put my 10,000 hours of Bannerlord to the test with 400 elite mixed units comprised of what I consider the best possible 400-man army in the game. We'll take on a variety of different challenges and, amplified by mods, enormous legions of the enemy to try and demonstrate the awesome power of the perfect Bannerlord army. This is the village. So the village of Papsia. We're going to kick the hornet's nest here and try to cause some carnage here. Try to cause a large army to attack us here. The easiest way, of course, is to raid a city, or is to siege a city. But I want a battle here at Papsia. So we're going to raid these poor villagers here, plunder 70 gold to add to our millions. And hopefully we get more than these little tiny armies to engage us here. This is potentially a great battle, so let's just go ahead and start an episode here. Welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment series covering the optimal Bannerlord army, the perfect Bannerlord army as our title. So, in humbly remarks, now we do have an incredibly powerful army. There's plenty of ranged units, but we have heavy elite Vanguard Ferris and elite Cataphract. We basically have it all, and trying to prove just how powerful an army that's optimally made can do in Bannerlord. Now, I don't want these little tiny armies to attack. Hopefully, by raiding this village, we can get some bigger dogs here. And here, this is exactly what I was hoping for. 2,600 Western Empire forces. In fact, there's 2 armies of Western Empire forces coming to the rescue of these poor little villagers that we throttled. There's other little armies here. So this actually looks like it's going to be too many forces. Quite patently, we cannot defeat 5,000 even with a good defense here. Maybe in a siege, right? Maybe we could handle that in a siege, but not at a village. Nevertheless, we're going to try to drag these in here and see what happens. It kind of looks like we're going to get chased down by this smaller army first. It has a bunch of little yapping dogs out in front of it. I'm not going to be too far away from the city if I go up there. Damn, I'm getting cornered. And sometimes, you know, things go awry here. So this is not part of the plan. You motherfuckers are fucking with my plan here. I don't even know if we're going to be at Papsia, but let's go ahead and give this first army a shot. 1,700 should be no problem. Yeah. You know what? We're just gonna, I think we could just reload. You know what? Let's just roll with this, right? There's a good chance we'll be able to engage that second army at Papsia. So this is going to be a 2-for-1 here this episode. We're going to go ahead and fight this first battle in this narrow battlefield. Is perfect for massacring your opponent. It's still a difficult challenge, right? We're snubbing we're basically thumbing our nose at 1,700 these days with this force. It's not like this army can't defeat us, but I don't think they're going to be able to. This is quite the funnel here. We're going to be able to set up quite a death trap. Archers on this top ridge with the valleys separating them. So let's go ahead and roll with this. I'll get back in my narrative enthusiastic mode here because we should have a battle at Papsia after this. Now, obviously, one of the things I'm thinking about is we need to win this in an exemplary manner, because if we're going to fight 2,600 after this, obviously we have to limit our casualties here. Otherwise, we won't have any chance. Now, of course, companions, we're going to get injuries. We're gonna have guys, troops that are unconscious for the second battle, but just trying to do the best we can here to ensure we've got a good-sized army for the second challenge. A very normal strategy for this exact battlefield will usually yield exceptional results. Let me show you how I set this up. I like Fian Champs, of course, across the valley. That way, they're really not being impacted at all by infantry the whole battle. Crossbow on an angle there so that the enemy comes over this ridge and they come right into crossfire. I want a square of infantry to put out in front I didn't actually look closely at the enemy composition, but routinely the enemy in a situation like this will have 200 heavy horse. I've got this shock troop division. Actually, there's archers mixed in there. Let's get rid of that. So shock troops, right? Legionary. There's, I want more skirmishers in there, but sometimes it's hard to do the configuration here where it creates, what I want is I want the 3rd division to be shock troops. So usually by having nothing in there, I guess we got to stick a polearm. Usually by having nothing in there, all of the shock troops end up in the 3rd division. But I digress. It's not going to matter tremendously. The key is our 1st division is a bunch of legionary and Aserai veteran infantry, guys that can really handle being blasted by heavy cavalry and infantry in the first 2 minutes of battle. You know, the 6th can buttress the 4th. We've got horse archers, cons guards on top of everything else. Of course, if you don't know anything about this series, this is a hand-picked army from a campaign. Our companions are very high level. And we're obviously going to use tactics each battle. None of these battles I think you could win. In fact, this is a good example here. Maybe we'll auto-resolve one of these battles here, or just have the sergeants in charge and see how badly they get crushed. Even with our elite troops, you still lose. I think they would still lose, although I guess it'll be interesting to see how they do. We obviously have a very powerful army, but we're outnumbered almost 5 to 1, right? Actually, I guess it's not quite 5 to 1. Yeah, so shield and shock there at the top there. The 6th division is ready to row. The 8th division, let's position them right here. It'll buttress that line, and they can chuck javelins down into the enemy as they approach. Got a little bit of time here to look over all the units. I like our Fian Champs close to the enemy, but still difficult to get to, right? And that's what we have here. They're up on that ridge. It's very difficult for the enemy even to get to our archers there. This is going to be a massacre. We got, as usual, we got one dipshit scout who would like to die. They got, it looks like a smattering of horse archers here. I'm just doing a little reconnaissance. I'm always curious. Oh shit, we hit that guy real hard. That guy went fucking flying. I'll have to slow-mo that for you fellas later on. I don't even know what happened there, but that guy went, you know, the physics system kind of goes bonkers sometimes. I'm just going to say that was an incredibly powerful javelin shot. All right, it is a massive amount of heavy cavalry coming on in this early wave here. Honestly, this is good, right? These guys are going to get stacked up on cavalry here. Our shock troops are going to go crazy. The square is going to attract attention. And while that's happening, obviously the enemy is going to get shot to death by archers. The Fian Champs on the other side, they're already raining in. I see javelins flying in here from our skirmishers and 8th Corps. Down in this valley on the other side, death awaits the enemy. And let's see if we can't eliminate, you know, the enemy here with half of our force alive still. We need more than half to have any chance to win the next battle. So I guess I'll say let's try to survive with 300 troops here. We had 400 and something, 430. Let's try to make it out of this with 300. Whole bunch of heavy cavalry right on our line here. The shock troops get told to charge. All these troops have stood up, and Navleaton's now in here going crazy. That looks good. They are getting to our 6th Corps, but our crossbow tucked up in that little ridge is going to be pretty safe. Of course, they're strafing the enemy over here too. They're just firing right into the enemy ranks. You know, they don't actually have the best line of sight. Let's go ahead and move some divisions here. Pull them back. These crossbow, let's pull these guys back just a little bit. That'll work now. That 2nd and 1st division are just in there getting mauled. But, you know, as I say in many of these episodes, so important to have some kind of distraction for this many forces, right? That's one of the keys, is to occupy like half of the enemy with an infantry square and a cav line in shield wall, because then you can dispatch the other half, right? We're outnumbered so badly here. You obviously can't just toe-to-toe with this. I mean, there's enemy troops everywhere here. And we're gonna have to get bloody. It actually feels like there's a lot more troops here than was initially reported, or whatever you want to call it, right? It said 1,700, I think. This feels like 4,000. They're just everywhere. And lots of shields. The enemy's been doing this more, I swear. They come up to you in a huge shield wall, and they don't actually attack until they get into the valley, so to speak here. This is frustrating a lot of my strategies, right? We're counting on our archers to do major killing here, and these guys look at this shit. They're just forming a huge shield wall line right in the middle of battlefield here. I mean, there's wisdom to this, right? If they launch a concentrated attack especially. Now, right now, I can't tell what they're doing. They're kind of spreading out. We've got units on both sides, so we'll crimp in on them here. They've broken their shield wall, too. It's like they decided that wasn't going to work. Well, they should have held it. Now it's too late. We could just pour through their infantry here, getting fucking stabbed in the face. Of course, I got to make sure my character has a good amount of health, too, right? Otherwise, we're not going to survive the next battle. May not survive this battle. I'm down to half already? Sometimes you just get shocked by how much damage you take. This guy's got an incredible armor, and I've fought plenty of battles like this where he just wades through everything and doesn't get touched. But this battle here, for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe one of those guys got a couple of headshots. Of course, headshots do more damage. I mean, it's definitely not optimal. Now, they've got troops reforming here. I want to get the jump on these archers before they set up. It's going to be a near thing. We're trying to take this ridge now and advance. They've got a bunch of infantry that are already regrouping. Fucking asshole Santa hat motherfuckers. Die, you bastard. That's my favorite. Motherfuckers, I know you didn't get married, or I know your parents didn't get married. Catch a javelin in the back here. These archers are trying to reform. Now they're sending up infantry to intercept us. It's actually, this is like one of the better overall AI displays I've seen recently. Let's get Fian Champs on the opposite side there. I mean, the enemy's occupying us here with infantry while their archers reform. Pretty good strategy. These fucking dipshit trucks. It's like they're the best defensive units in their whole army. They block everything. The Legionary and whatnot that the enemy has, they melted, but their trucks and tier 2 infantry hold their shield up and frustrate the shit out of me. The death spam looks good though. It's a bit messy as our infantry push through. They have a huge amount of infantry here. In fact, I've sort of botched the tactics here. Right? I should be playing a bit more defensive. I thought we were going to be able to catch the enemy off guard. Instead, they're setting up a good archer line here with infantry in front. We should still be able to overcome this with brute strength. And it's one of those things, right? You fellas watch, and of course, we smash a lot of opponents in dramatic fashion on the channel. But you make mistakes, right? And here, I'm just making a mistake. And it's going to cost us, right? I might even get knocked out. We haven't had one of these where my character got mauled and we got killed in the first battle here. See if we can't rely on his athleticism and some sheer brute strength here. And the thing is you're moving these troops around. And it takes them 30 or 40 seconds to get into position. I've got cons guards here tearing through the enemy's flank. You know, and it takes time for units to move, right? And once you move them between one location to another, for example, the other side of that ridge to this side, you know, that time is precious. And if you waste it and do what we did, which is basically have our troops move up sort of right into the teeth of these defensive troops, you end up in a bad spot. And that's where we are right now, fighting for our life. We've got this battle in hand now. Our troops are in there in a shield wall, or the sergeant crossbow in a shield wall. I'm back here causing mayhem in the backfield. We can backdoor some of these guys here and finish this fight, but definitely not going to achieve our goal, right? I was hoping to have 300 troops survive this. Well, maybe we'll have 301 or something like that, but we have a lot of injuries, right? My character is almost dead against a relatively mediocre force. The enemy got some good blows in here. And every once in a while, I like having battles like this for one good reason. That way you guys know the channel's authentic, right? When my character gets dropped like a bitch, Bannerlord is hard, right? This game will surprise you sometimes, or you'll do what we did here. You'll make a mistake. Yeah, I mean, we 301 exactly. How funny is that? We have exactly 301 troops. So I guess we met our goal, but barely, right? And what kind of difficulty are we going to have in this next fight, right? It's like 2,800. Now, hopefully, we can scurry down to Papsia, right? Papsia is the defensive location of choice, although that battlefield is not horrible for fighting the enemy, right? That valley battlefield. It's also present south of like Epicrotia for you fellas who want to fight on that battlefield. From all the way from Epicrotia down to, I think it's Ressos Castle. It is that landscape, and there are various different angles and things you can do on that landscape to devastate the enemy. But the whole purpose of this episode is to show you Papsia, and I'm kind of fumbling here at the 2-yard line. or fumbling on the kickoff maybe. We haven't done a good job here. I'm going to try to get down there. I'm going to try to stall here a little bit because we got really beat up there. This enemy force is pushing in. There's these little yapping dog other armies that may chase us down. Yeah, 301 is look at this guy's also got 301 troops. He's coming in. We're fucked. I don't even think we're going to be able to fight at Papsia here. So I say sometimes 20% of the population is a dipshit. I would say 20% of my days on Earth, I am a dipshit. And I feel like a dipshit here, showing you guys this content. We're just going to roll with it here. It's raw, unfiltered gameplay, with the exception of crashes, right? When we have to save scum. Although I just had an idea. You know what we're going to do? I'll mention it in a second, but we're gonna get our Battle of Papsia in on this episode. I can't tell you guys we're gonna fight at Papsia and then not fight at Papsia. We'll reload here and have another battle for this episode. However, let's see what we can do here. We do have an incredible location to filter, funnel, and destroy the enemy, but we're a long ways away from it. We're gonna have to have a bit of a race here to that ridge. Got to get a cav line set up, although that shit ain't gonna work. I got 10 cavalry. 2 divisions of 5 is not a thing. Yeah, this is where I fucked us that first battle. If we had 60 cavalry, maybe we'd have a much better chance to win here. I don't think we can win with with 9 cavalry. I do have cons guards, but to say putting cons guards in a defensive line is suboptimal is an understatement, right? They don't have shields. All they can do is parry. They're much better used on offense. Now, I do still have a lot of archers, right? We've got this crossbow division of about 70 guys. Again, for the newer guys watching, you just put that little shield preference on there. And that's how you delineate that and make it different. I mean, we have 10 cavalry. I'm going to try to take that ridge up there, but it's a ways away. We got to start right at the front line here and then race up there. And see what we can do here. All right, let's not get too negative. Let's fucking pull this shit out, right? Sometimes you talk yourself into a defeat. You got to always just imagine victory. You want to manifest the future you want to see, just like my own life. Whether it was retiring at 50 or whatever it is, you got to have a plan. You got to prepare for that plan and then envision it on a regular basis so that it becomes kind of one of your creeds of life, right? We're going to fucking win this battle, right? How about that? We'll say it out loud. All right, let's get our cav division of 5 on that ridge. We'll get infantry and skirmishers behind them. We obviously are going to set up crossbow shoulder, crossbow and 5th Corps on this other shoulder. We can give them a division of infantry. It's a tiny division of 6th too. It's just a thin line, and the enemy's already here. So I'm going to have to act a little bit as the pinata here. We've got to attract some attention here. I can't have the enemy just pour 300 heavy cavalry over the ridge. This looks like an incredibly powerful force too. Every cavalryman is a tier 6. Fucking Dreadzinnic champion, Banner Knight. Look at our cavalry is getting swallowed up. There's 3 guys there. Let's jam cons guards in there as well. At least we killed the Lord. We're telling our own companions to see you in hell. And hurry the fuck up, guys. Our cavalry are trying to hold the hilltop here while you guys get into place. Whatever you do, don't fucking hurry. That's one thing that's definitely missing in Bannerlord. I remember it from Total War. I think I remember it. You could tell your troops move faster, sprint, right? And you only had a limited amount you could do that, right? They would run out of energy or whatever. But in Bannerlord, unfortunately, you have almost no ability to speed up units. That's really lacking, right? You'd be like double time, motherfuckers. And there'd be consequences and a limit to how much you could do that. But Bannerlord, it's really limited there. Maybe it'd just be too much coding or something like that. And I'm aware of the posture system, right? With RBM does add some improvements to energy and shit like that. But we need a way to make our troops go faster in brief spurts when you need them to. That's a real thing from military history and also just should be part of Bannerlord. Now, I've got to fight on the front lines here. Fortunately, my hammer just destroys everything. These guys have absolutely no chance. Just going to bash these guys into next week. And okay, evidently they have a chance. I was going to say they have absolutely no chance. We're getting mauled now. I've got fucking... I think this is Arwa. I think this is the character's mother. She's kind of... an all-around jack of trade, but that's not going to work here, right? I need an axe wielder or something. She's got a mediocre weapon with a gigantic Pavi shield. She's more of our governor, like when we have campaigns with this little side series, whether it was the Peasants' Revolt or the Asurai campaign. I can put a line of infantry here in a square. It doesn't mean the battle's lost. It just means that the battle is almost lost. Right, we can hold this ridge. We've got a bunch of infantry still. We've got a bunch of legionary and stuff like that. I can hold this ridge, put them in a shield wall and or a square, depending on what's happening to them, and we can get our archers set up here on the other side. Right, I've got two different types of archers, but the best we're going to be able to do is divide them into two divisions. A lot of our tactical advantage goes down as soon as our commander goes kaput, because we can no longer charge in a shield wall when our archers are mixed. And the enemy has 800,000 heavy cavalry here just stampeding through our ranks. So it's not a recipe for success. So archers on this far ridge up here, we could set up the 4th and the 5th. Shit, we're going through companions left and right. At least this guy looks like he has a pole arm. Let's split the archers again. Let's have that infantry line hold that ridge. Get these divisions set up on the far ridge here. This at least is going to do major damage to the enemy, right? Because they're going to be attracted to this giant square. We do have a beautiful ridge to shoot down on. Vitally, the enemy can't really shoot us besides the horse archers here. They got a lot of horse archers, unfortunately. But their regular archers are not going to be able to take part of the battle, at least in this initial stage. Good job, Consgard just mowed that lord down. That's exactly what happened to my character, right? Hugh the Hammer took a fucking, I think it was a glaive right over the top of the head. Now I've got to just fucking try to clean up this cavalry here. So the cavalry will usually be attracted to a square of infantry. That's good for us, right? That means they're not going to be charging through our archers. And let's kill some of these fucks. Maybe we can pull this out. This would be amazing. We have a really strong line of infantry here just in a square. Admittedly, these are not hyper advanced tactics, although there's still value here for a new player, right? An infantry line in a square and or a shield wall holding a ridge with archers on the other side is going to work. We're going to be able to do a lot of damage here. I wish I had some cavalry. I have no way to counter hundreds of cavalry pouring through our ranks. And the square only attracts so much attention. The enemy does have a huge amount of cavalry. You can have some of these guys charge. And this polearm will do a number on cavalry, but it's always better to have standing cavalry, right? That way you're not getting staggered all over the battlefield like this. Horses are fucking raining all over me. I mean, the death spam's turned incredibly green. Our square is dwindling, but it's still holding there. Let's push it towards the top of the ridge. God damn, it's all fucking horse archers over there. Fuck you. It shows you the difference between Hugh the Hammer. He one-shots all these cavalry. This guy's doing like, he's injuring their horses. He's not even killing their horses. So his bow and arrow skills are not really going to be that efficient here. It's just the guys who use bows and arrows, it works great in battles where it's, 800 against 1200. You don't win with a bow and arrow against 7 times your number. What did we have? We had like 300 and they had 2,800 or some shit like that. Yeah, you're not winning with a bow and arrow. You got to have other archers doing work and your main character killing the heavies. Now, he definitely killed these little fucking garbage cavalrymen, right? These equitae have no chance. I just glanced. I don't do it very often mid-battle, but I just glanced at the power bar because I was curious if we have any chance. We lose. So you can just see a little tiny red flicker up there. I mean, they're both kind of red. It's more like regular red and maroon for the Western Empire, and they have a gigantic bar. In fact, they have tons of archers setting up down here. We're fucked. But never fear, right? We still have a chance for some glory and victory in this episode. We'll simply save scum, right? We're doing some entertaining with these episodes here. This is one half demonstration to show the power of a mixed army in Bannerlord, just how strong it could be. It's a little bit of an iteration from our 300 series. We have usually 400, 400-ish, and we're fighting enemy forces in huge tactical battles. If nothing else, it'll be amazing scenes, right? Just incredibly fucking cinematic, gigantic battles. Bannerlord does an amazing job with that. Here come their archers. They have 520 archers. That's more troops than we started with. And they have 400 infantry. Look at that fucking press. The whole fucking line of the horizon is covered with enemy troops. It's Sergeant Crossbow too. They got like a nasty force coming right at us. And we're fucked here, but that doesn't mean we're not gonna Not going to cut down some of these Western Empire forces. I very rarely stop a battle right in the middle and then just let the shit auto-resolve. It just feels so anticlimactic. Plus, I like hacking down every single one of these. I always feel like Tom Cruise's fucking fake character in The Last Samurai where he's cutting everybody down by himself. I'm not about to give up. And look at that mob. That's awesome. That is your battle size mod right there. You'll never see a force like that in vanilla Bannerlord. You are dead. You're very right there, sir. Right you are. All right, well, we didn't actually do very well here. Only 809 kills. Quite frankly, we got steamrolled as the enemy roars. We'll do a little fancy editing here, and hopefully the Battle of Papsia. For sure in a lot better shape here. 368. What do we have? 301, right? And come on. We should. Okay, so good.
I think.
There we go. All right, so smaller force defeated. A little bit better shape of the army. Hugh the Hammer's in much better shape. And 3,000 Western Empire forces for you, as promised. We will have the Battle of Papsia. A little bit banged up, of course, right? You're not going to defeat 1,800 forces. This time we stayed behind the ridge. I'm just going to say it now. In fact, I did not narrate that first battle. We're just going to skip that. I'm not going to show it to you at all. Just know that we're in the second battle here at Papsia. All right, so this is the funnel, right? The funnel right down the chute here. The enemy is forced to come more or less directly at you, and we're going to make a little buttress here, right next to this little wagon full of cabbage. The wagon full of cabbage is going to be our 9th Division. We're going to allow that to essentially block the enemy from getting through to our archers and crossbow. At some point or other, we'll probably make an assertive counterattack to try to get around some of these obstacles. But let's see what we can do here with tactics. Now, we're in much better shape, right? That first battle, what do we have? 10 cavalry, right? We've got 60 here. It's not a lot, but it's enough, I think, to hold the lines and let some tactics work here. Talk about that all the time on the channel. The bottom line is cavalry is just not a good offensive weapon in Bannerlord. It's very much a defensive unit as you'll see, and of course as you have seen on the channel. I'm going to put the second actually in there as well, but I'm going to dismount them. I'm going to borrow their horses. We're going to put their horses here in a line, right? Thank you, voluntary horses. We'll make sure you guys get some good food after we round you up later on. The third corps, I've got 2 different divisions to charge for offense. And I'm not sure, a little bit unsure of exactly where to put them, right? There's going to be a huge press of enemies straight up the chute here, and if we have infantry divisions divided, I think they'll get massacred. So let's keep the 3rd and the 6th over here. I've got this crossbow division. They'll be towards the front because they'll both run out of ammo earlier on, and they will be used as both defense and as charging units in a shield wall. The 5th Corps is in good shape. Most of those Fian Champs survived that battle. And then we have Khan's Guards as well to put up here. So 3 different units basically doing 80% of our damage here. The Khan's Guards obviously are more mobile, so we'll put them back a little ways. The 8th Corps can hold the line over there. I'm going to keep those guys on horse probably. I like to have at least 1 division both to move up in a shield wall and as a offensive division if we need to. Khan's Guards, of course, can count for that as well. All right, so 1st and 2nd will be chucked into squares. The 9th Division, that wagon full of cabbage, hopefully that creates a nice little bottleneck for the enemy. Bring the 8th Corps down here a little bit, and let's see how this goes. Now, I'm going to purposefully narrate a little bit less in this battle, just because guys sometimes say they want to hear me talk, but not the entire fucking battle, and we'll try to acquiesce here and there to that request. 1st Division in a square, 2nd Division will be in a square as well, and like I said, that's going to hopefully stem the tide here. God, it's a lot of fucking troops there. A lot of heavy cavalry in this 2nd army. Got them bottled up here pretty good on this 1st Division. These guys are going to have amazing survivability because they have great armor, and of course 330 medicine skill means they have 200 hit points. All of this infantry here, they will survive a long time. There's a mix of cavalry and enemy infantry in here. This left side is unbelievably packed with enemy horses. I mean, they have so many fucking cavalry. I've got to just keep working on those units. Getting shot. Still have over half my health, though. We're in good shape. Let's move these crossbow back. Fifth, we can get the fifth a little closer. Sometimes it's better to have these guys closer so they're doing more damage. Chop some heads off. Where's the enemy vanguard? I don't see the enemy vanguard. I keep waiting for a huge amount of infantry to pour up, just like that first battle. There it is. It is. It's on the other side of that ridge mostly. Perfect, right? Let's get our crossbow and archers pulled to this angle. They're going to have savage crossfire on those fucks. They're stuck there because there's basically a terraced wall of rocks that the enemy can't get over. And so they're really bound up down there. These are archers trying to sneak through. Fuck those guys. Right, let's charge with the 3rd and 6th. Of course, the enemy is fucking Fian Champs too. What a fucking nasty army this is. StrengthenAI mod, right? These are incredible armies we're going against. You never see this shit in random Bannerlord. In many ways, this series is more difficult than the 300 series. Even though we have more troops, we are facing juggernaut enemies. A lot of times in that 300 series, the second half of an enemy's army would be all raggedy tier 2, tier 3 units. They would have no Fian Champs. This is a Western Empire force, and it's packed with Fian Champs. Squares are holding. This cav line is doing a decent job. Fuck, this is infantry pressing up on this side. Let's fucking take care of this business right now. Let's get the 3rd and 6th over here. We're going to have to charge these guys. There's archers in the center. Let's have those squares just form shield walls to hold that line there. The archers are strafing horse archers coming on this side.
Infantry! Horsemen! Horse archers! Move! Loose formation! Horse archers! Move! Loose formation!
Looks good. We can chuck some javelins in here to the packed ranks. Look at how penned up the enemy is. They're fish in a barrel. Every arrow is finding a mark here. I mean, I can't miss with my javelins. See, this terrace, I can't get over it either. I'm like stuck on it. And I'm getting stuck on the 2nd division here too. Come on, let's fucking win this shit. Let's pull the 3rd and the 6th over here. I think it's time to flank this enemy and go offensive. You see how bound up they are, right? Watch what we can do here. 4th, 3rd, 5th, and 6th can all bore through here. This 8th division is holding pretty well on their line, right? Those guys are going to be able to shove a path for us. The enemy's bound up in the center, attacking our main division of archers and those 2 infantry lines. If we can turn the flank here, charged with crossbow, although actually I want the crossbow right here. I want these guys shoving a hole for our Fian Champs. Those infantry divisions are doing a beautiful job just holding back the enemy. We can pop right between these 2 different buildings here and just flank the shit out of the enemy. The enemy's in a huge packed mass there in the middle. If I can get archers in here with crossbow providing a defense for us, we're going to be able to do major damage. You ain't getting anywhere, motherfucker. Look at how packed they are. Get in there, crossbow. Now we need the 5th Corps down here. Spread out, motherfuckers. This is the stage of battle where I get nervous. Any little mistake can fuck us here. Let's push this crossbow shield right into the face of the enemy. In we go here. We've got 5th Division, 6th Division, and 3rd Division boring in here on the side. The crossbow's holding the center. The 1st and the 2nd are still on the other side there, basically just holding the line. And we have a packed enemy here now being shot to death by crossbow, or not crossbow, but by archers, Fian Champs, and Pons Guards. Man, we've got the enemy in a bad position here. what an enemy. Fuck you, these little tiny... It's always the tier 2 guys, right? I don't fear Legionary. I fear fucking the trucks swinging their little tiny mace. These little villagers fuck you up sometimes. I swear they defend better than Legionary. It's weird. Alright, let's get cavalry protection here. They've got a bunch of archers below us. This little truck attacking me. Fuck you. I'm gonna burn down your village for sure. That main division is just getting butchered. They're getting born into on one side, and they're smashed against that terrace in the squares on the other side. Now they're trying to regroup right into the teeth of our units. I still got a third of my health. We're doing way better than that second battle. Let's get all of these guys just boring in here. God damn, these terraces make it hard to set up units though, too. This cav line is doing their job, right? These guys are absorbing arrows by the dozen. Let's shove them down this next terrace. If we could shove these guys down the next terrace and move our archers up to this ridge, they'll have a beautiful bird's eye view of this whole force. Spread out, you bitches. It can be hard to position units, but I think we finally got them spread there. What we got going on here? Look at the enemies, just got an avalanche pouring down on one side, a defensive line of crossbow boring in onto the third, and then like 100 Fian Champs scorching its flank. Yeah, these little bitch-ass, weak-ass archers, they parry everything for some reason. We've still got some 3rd and 6th division left. Let's go. Let's just fucking drop into this shit. Let's get into their back door here. Sometimes this is the most important thing to do. To prevent these 200 archers from shooting, a little suicide run here. Let's see if we can keep our feet moving here. Look for the gap in between these and just carve a path. At a minimum, we're stopping like 50 or 100 archers here from shooting. Right? All these guys are suddenly aware that there's an axe fucking or a hammer wielding mofo in their backfield, crushing half of them, getting the attention of the other half while the rest of our forces plow downhill. Sometimes I prefer this. You just got to keep your distancing too, right? You little fucking... These little insolent... I got some cons guards with me here to slash these bitches. Call for a little backup. You little fucking polearm wielding nomad motherfuckers. God, I'm gonna get dropped again. This is called running for your life. Look at the Fian Champs are still there shooting over the ridge. Bore into them, fellas. Fuck you guys. The enemy's making a last charge here too. It's all or nothing now. Pour in there, bitches. Good job, cons guards, just trucking these guys. I think we got this shit. Look at the Fian Champs. The 8th Corps is still there holding off arrows. That's amazing. We got this shit. It's steamroller time. That guy got dismembered. The enemy's on the run. Fucking beautiful. And vengeance here, right? Even though, again, that these are not part of the main campaign, it still feels glorious to avenge a loss with a victory like that. That was 3,000 Western Empire forces and a tough 3,000. And some savage tactics, some timely troop movements. Essentially the opposite of that first battle, we get a little vengeance. And it illustrates again how Bannerlord is absolutely a game where you are in charge and your moves make up all the decisions. You butcher the first battle, I made some mistakes. You come back in the second battle or third battle here and fight it well, and that's the result, right? A fucking huge pile of enemy carcasses, and almost a third of our troops survived. This is a perfect example of the power, both of an incredibly powerful army, but also how tactics apply. It just means all the difference in the world. Of course, you fellas are probably like, shut the fuck up already. We're already here on Tactical Enlightenment. We're aware tactics are good. Just entertain us and quit fucking preaching. We will do our best to do so, friends. All right, well, this series is running to an end here. I will probably do 2 or 3 more episodes, although I reserve the right to do gigantic siege defenses with this army in the future, as if I don't have that right. Of course, I can do whatever the fuck I want. We are going to continue to press with the StrengthenAI mod and look for scenarios where really interesting castles and cities are under siege against 10,000, 12,000, right? 15,000. Who knows what the upper bounds are? Obviously, there is an upper bounds, but we will hopefully find it. Of course, if you want to see more from this series, you want to subscribe, hit notifications if you want to see when videos come out. Leave any comments, requests, criticisms, funny jokes, all that stuff in the comments box. Appreciate you fellas. Hit that like button. And with all that said, I will talk to you friends next time.